Good morning, everyone. This is my watch list for Tuesday, August 25th. All right. So what happened yesterday? SPY held that demand again. Okay, the 762. It just held and chopped around a bit in between 762 and 765. Today we are gapping up. Again, I'm not surprised that SPY is holding this demand. This whole area between 760 and 762 is a big zone, right? I'm not surprised that some buying is coming in off of these levels, okay? They're obvious again, all right? The levels are obvious. 762 and 768. 768 was the highs here. It was where we rejected here. It was our demand from last Wednesday. And now we popped into that in the pre-market and it again rejected in the pre-market, okay? So if we get above 768, I like longs on SPY today, okay? And then if we get below 762, I like short, even maybe below 765, which is yesterday's highs. If we fell back below that, we can potentially watch for shorts back into 762, okay? Let's see how SPY opens. It'll be a big tell on how the market opens. QQQ, same thing. So this was beautiful, guys. I got 100% trade on this right off the open. I talked about this yesterday. We failed 710, first candle of the session. We popped back into that pre-market low area, and I shorted here, and it sold immediately all the way down and filled the daily gap into 702.50, right? This is like an extremely beautiful way to start the week, okay? So Qs are gapping up as well, okay? We just bounced off of that gap fill, 702 demand. We're back into the range. 716 is my supply. 710, let me draw this out. 710 is my support, right? This is yesterday's high. This was this demand from back here. So 716, 710. Let's see, what do the Qs do today? If we get back under 710, this turns into a short again. If we reclaim 716, it turns into a long, okay? Apple, this is one of my main watches today, all right? We failed the big supply at 320. We bounced off demand on the 21st. Yesterday, we failed that 313 supply and gapping down a bit. If we get below the 307.5, I like to short on Apple, right? This was the level here, level here, level here, level here. If you get below 307.5, I'm shorting Apple today. AMD, this was really nice yesterday as well. The timing was the exact same time as QQQ. That's why I didn't signal it. I was already in the Qs, okay? But I said this 460 breakdown, if we get that, we should get a nice move. And we lost 460 and sold down to 451, all right? So that was a nice $9 move on AMD. And now today, it's actually reclaiming 460, okay? So as long as we're above 460, I would not short AMD. If we get back below, feel free to short this again. But now that we are back above, this is no longer a short for me. All right, now we're just back into that range. Amazon held demand. All right, I don't love this chart. I mean, maybe if we get above 266, 267, this area from back here, this can turn into a nice long setup. I don't know. We held demand, but it's not doing much. The past few sessions, this just hasn't done much for me, okay? Google, kind of strong. I'm not watching anything on Google, but it is kind of strong. I would be careful shorting. Meta, this was also a really nice move. I talked about this yesterday. Remember, inverse head and shoulder, right? Head, left shoulder, right shoulder. It held, right? We held the 540, and yesterday we broke 555, and it ripped. I said, if we break 555, this can go to 565. It's at 565 right now in the pre-market, all right? That was a nice move on Meta. This is a long, as long as we hold 585, okay? Netflix, this has been consolidating after a big breakout move last Wednesday. Consolidation day Thursday, Friday, Monday. Do we break out again and create the next leg higher? Potentially, okay? This is not, I will not put size on this, but I will try this. It's already made, why would I not put size? Because it's already made a huge move from earnings, right? It went from 65 to 80, 81, okay? So do I like the setup? Yeah, I mean, it looks good, right? It looks like just a classic bull flag consolidation, right? So if we get the next leg higher, this should get a nice move above 81. It's just Netflix, okay? So I may take this today. I may signal this if we break above 81. Just you guys know in advance, I won't trade size on it. I might trade 20 contracts, okay? Palantir failed the 180. This was the big level. We caught this move on Friday. It's back in the range. You know, if we reclaim 180, this turns into a long again, or if we tap that lower demand, it turns into a long. But while it's in this range right here, I just likely will not touch this thing, okay? Nvidia had a pretty aggressive sell day yesterday, down 3%, close on the session. Off the open was really aggressive. That 214 took it out no problem, and that was a huge hourly, 4-hour daily level. You guys see this 214 was big. Now, Nvidia has earnings tomorrow. And any other day, I would be looking for a pop and fade on this name at 213 or 214, right? Any other time, I would be shorting this 213 to 214. However, with earnings tomorrow, I don't know, right? I don't know if I want to take that risk. Of course, there is added risk with earnings tomorrow. The premiums also won't move well. They'll be very expensive and they just won't move well. So maybe I'll trade this on equity. I might short this on equity if we get that pop. Let's see what happens off the open. Tesla, okay, here's the thing. I took this long on Friday. We made 150% on the long. Yesterday, we saw some signs of capitulation. However, it bounced off of demand, right? It bounced off the 352. The open was weak, very weak, but it held that demand, right? But then towards the afternoon, it actually wiped out that entire demand. And Rav took the short somewhere up here. In 357, 358, Rav took the short, and that was really a nice move. Okay, so now what do you watch on Tesla? If this gets back above 352, I would not touch shorts. This is the breakout level. This is the gap fill level, right? Above 352, this is not a short. But I am watching something here that's interesting to me, right? If we zoom out and we draw the trend, let's draw the Tari trend line, right? You see this has been in an uptrend since July 29th. If we fail the breakout level, which is 352, right? This is the gap fill level. If we fail that level and we break below this trend line, let's say we lose 348, which is just the lows from yesterday, then this capitulates and can sell all the way back down. 340 would be my first target. Below that, 335. Below that, we could see all the way back down to 330, 325, okay? So this actually looks like a really nice short if we lose this trend line here, as well as fail that breakout gap fill level, okay? Because it already pretty much filled the gap. My gap was to 370, and this went to 366.50, all right? Now the question is, do we maintain 352, right? Do we hold that, or do we sell back below this trend line? And this can get really heavy if that happens, okay? Because there's been a lot of squeeze momentum, and that squeeze momentum can turn into short side momentum very fast, especially on a name like Tesla, okay? And I wouldn't be surprised if that happens either, because look at this, look how weak it was after earnings, right? After earnings, it was so weak. This could just be a massive bear flag. I mean, it's not unheard of to see these 2-week bear flags, 2-week, 3-week bear flags, and then once they play out, this downside on Tesla, we could lose 348, and this could just sell all the way back down to, you know, these earnings lows. It's not unheard of, all right? So let's see what happens with Tesla. But if I see signs of weakness and we lose that 348, we lose that trend line, this is a short for me, all right? So those are my main watches today. You know, Tesla, definitely a main watch. Apple is a main watch if we lose that demand. Let's see what happens with SPY and the Qs. I'll either be longing this or shorting. It kind of just depends how we open. I'll see you guys on live.